Hello, welcome to Horror Cult Trash Over, the show that discusses all the masterpieces and trashterpieces of genre cinema. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
Oh.
Well.
Wow. So last week we spoke about something pretty fucking weird.
Can you tell we didn't practice that bit?
We spoke about something really fucking weird last week. We spoke about Rock and Roll High School. But this week we've outdone ourselves. And we are discussing one of the most bizarre films I've ever seen in my life.
It's one of those films where when it ends, you're like, huh? What? The epitome of how did this get made?
Yeah.
Really. With the cast, I feel like the famous faces make it even more confusing.
Yeah.
We're of course talking about Sextette.
Yes, released in 1977, directed by Ken Hughes, who directed Night School. Honestly, one of the better video nasties. So, yeah, and it gets more bizarre. Alfie Darling, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the original Casino Royale, Drop Dead Darling, Of Human Bondage, The Trials of Oscar Wilde, Jazz Boat, The Long Haul, The Atomic Man, Wide Boy, and the list goes on.
Yeah, British director.
Yeah.
Night School was a good slasher film, like really not very well known slasher film.
Let's face it though, he may be in the director's chair, but I think someone else may have been directing the director.
Yes.
This is written by Herbert Baker, who wrote The Jazz Singer, Hammerhead, The Ambushers, Murderers Row, Loving You, The Girl Can't Help It, Scared Stiff, Jumpin' Jacks, So This Is New York, and lots more. But it is also based on the play and also starring Mae West.
Mae West.
Who you may know from She Done Him Wrong, I'm No Angel, Going to Town, My Little Chickadee, Myra Breckenridge, Ballad of the 90s, etc., etc. Yeah, icon.
Yeah. In terms of screen actresses, she is an icon. Probably not so much today, but really well recognised. Very much a precursor to someone like Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a precursor to Madonna.
Yeah, no, of course.
You know, so many people are influenced by Mae West. She infamously wrote plays. One of which was called Sex, and she got sent to prison for it.
She did.
She did a fair bit for the LGBTQ plus community, creating a play full of gay men and drag queens. She's just a great person that was so ahead of her time. So sex positive in the 30s and 40s, something that's so refreshing to see when you watch her films from back then. She just didn't give a shit. And, after she was arrested and thrown in prison by many religious people, she just came back stronger. And, she started starring in films. The Hays Code set her back a little bit. But then again, you get something like My Little Chickadee where the Hays Code's in place and she's still saying every word but fuck, but meaning, she's got all her innuendos in place.
Yeah. So to understand something like Sextette, and we're obviously going to go through the film, you have to understand who Mae West was as a person. She was very much had a screen persona, which by all accounts was still true in real life.
Oh yeah.
She did quite a lot in terms of films in a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was mainly during the 30s that she was at her height.
Yeah.
She wrote plays,
mm-hmm.
Very successful plays. The films were based on these plays, and she would have writing credit, and by all accounts she would have control of every single aspect of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Her films made really great money, saved Paramount as a studio in the early 30s, and therefore it allowed her to have free reign over the production of these films. The Hays Code came in, and the racier elements of her films had to be scaled back. And those racier elements, which were her bread and butter, because they were scaled back, her films weren't as successful.
Yeah.
Going on. And then she kind of left Hollywood. She did return in Myra Breckinridge, but she kind of focused more on the Broadway plays. And Sextette is based on a Broadway play.
Yeah.
That she wrote from the 60s. With all due respect to Mae West, her films and plays are quite formulaic.
Yeah.
They very much revolve around her being a sex symbol, being, followed by men everywhere she goes. Many men chasing her, and her deciding which of these men, by the end of the film, that she would like to be with. Essentially.
Yeah.
And they take part, some of them are westerns, one takes part of the circus, but essentially, those are the films. She had a real great wit. She could deliver a witty one-liner like no one else, full of innuendo. And Sextette is kind of all-encompassing of Mae West as a screen icon.
Yeah, so, Mae West is in a different film throughout. She is in a Mae West film. Everyone else were just on a lot of drugs. Clearly.
Yeah.
Including the director. How he came up with this from, the normal Mae West film, I really have no idea.
It takes part in a different place. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is that Mae West was in her 80s when this film was made. No one else was. So the scenes are very awkward due to a big age difference. Let's be clear.
Oh yeah, and
she didn't start her film career until she was 40.
Yeah.
She did look younger, and I'm not saying she doesn't look like she's in her 80s.
Oh no.
But she doesn't look like she's in her 40s.
No.
She's up there.
Acting styles changed a lot between when she was last in Hollywood, aside from Myra Breckinridge. When she was last in Hollywood, between then and when she started in Sextette, back then everyone was a bit, that very classic Hollywood style of acting.
Yeah.
But then this is clearly a 70s film, and she looks like she's just jumped out of a time machine. Even in the films in the 30s and 40s, she's still a unique presence that's still different to everybody else.
Yeah.
She even stood out then. But it was still within classic Hollywood, so there was still, it didn't feel too weird. This feels very, very weird.
This is where, when you say that she's in a different film, is the acting, her acting style is so kind of old school that no one else in the film, because they're not old school actors, even someone like Tony Curtis, he wasn't acting in the 30s. They acting in a completely different way.
Yeah.
I think the trivia will help us
Yes.
identify some other ways that her acting isn't quite the same as everyone else's.
And first of all, the budget, no one can make their mind up online. It's somewhere between 4 million and 8 million.
Okay.
Either way, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
For this.
Yeah.
It looks like it's shot on what I can imagine a 70s version of a camcorder would look like. It made $50,000.
Gigantic bomb.
Yeah.
A real failure.
Timothy Dalton described the film as a sort of carnival, extremely special to do. Because Timothy Dalton's in this.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton before playing James Bond.
Yes, playing a spy before James Bond. This clearly got him the role.
I think potentially. We'll get on to that.
Alice Cooper is in this.
He is.
In a tuxedo. He recorded the piano ballad No Time for Tears for a scene in the film. Mae West rejected it, saying her character would never cry over the loss of a man. The song was ultimately replaced with the peppy disco number Next Next. No Time for Tears was included in the box set The Life and Crimes of Alice Cooper, but Next Next has never made it onto an album.
Oh, I see. But you see how Mae West pretty much had final say on everything. And she, her screen persona was, I don't cry over men. Marriage is for convenience at most.
Yeah.
She was always being chased. She never chased a man in her films. Yeah, good on her.
She's a force, an absolute force.
Yeah.
To have written and starred in, I mean, 12, 13 films, but all of them apart from Myra Breckenridge, she had the writing credit. She wrote these films and she had full control over what happened.
All
for the most
her
part.
one-liners that have stood the test of time.
Yeah.
We all make jokes that we don't even attribute to her, and then we watch the films and we're like, oh, that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
She wrote that.
Yeah, and when you think about
It's
how...
like Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
Is it Nicki Minaj when she was on station? When you hear Nicki Minaj spit, it's because Nicki Minaj wrote it.
I mean,
Mae West?
some comparison.
I don't think there's a huge difference, We talk about a lot of someone like Madonna,
Elvira,
but we talk about these women who have owned their sexuality and are very sexual and unapologetic about it. Well, that started on the big screen with Mae West.
Yeah, and when
it was a revelation, and she is in many ways a feminist icon because she for the 1930s really broke ground.
Yeah,
she really did.
And for a woman in Hollywood to have that much power, when you take into consideration how other women in Hollywood are treated, it's an absolute miracle. An absolute miracle.
And we see it time after time with women in film, is the idea that, Mae West was a success because of Mae West.
Yeah. She
could call the shots because people went to see Mae West films because of Mae West. It's like, who you gonna get to replace me?
Yeah.
Even more so, she wrote the fucking thing.
Hey, she launched Cary Grant's career, so...
Yeah, but actresses like Betty Davis, could turn around and say, I don't want to do this. Not as much as the men were able to, but turn around and say, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
People come to see me in those films.
Yeah.
So what you going to do about it? You either have me in it or you're not making the film.
Yeah.
And... for the 1930s, that's fabulous.
Yeah, it really is. The press kit was issued with a pink cassette tape, like the one featured in the film, which included songs from the film, but the soundtrack has never been commercially released. Get me that pink cassette tape.
Oh, really?
Yeah? Would you not love to listen to this soundtrack on a daily basis?
Absolutely not. No way.
There were countless script revisions, but 84-year-old Mae West had thick cataracts, which made reading practically impossible. A wireless earpiece was disguised by her wig, and director Ken Hughes watched from a glass booth speaking her lines, which she would then repeat. According to co-star Dom DeLuise, West unwittingly uttered a bit of Hughes' direction that was intended for the director of photography. She laughed more than anyone else as soon as she realised what she had done, DeLuise remarked. As word of this gaffe spread on the set, it snowballed into the persistent rumour that she was repeating police radio transmissions that were picked up by a wireless receiver. In scenes where she was required to walk, it was usually with a gentleman holding her arm, and sandbags were hidden off screen to prevent her from overstepping her marks. I mean, what a champ.
God bless her. You know, she's got cataracts, and she's also wearing huge eyelashes.
Yeah.
So she mustn't have been able to see anything.
Yeah. But she still acts like she does in the other films. It's not that she gives a bad performance.
No, not...
She gives a Mae West performance.
She gives a Mae West performance, but it's very evident in many scenes she doesn't know where to look.
Yeah. Neither does anyone.
But more than anyone else, it's kind of like, who are you talking to there, Mae?
Yeah.
What's going on? You know, you're playing to the... Who are you singing to? Who is this addressing?
Yeah.
But, you know, she's got a shuffle. That Mae West shuffle, you know, and she didn't trip over a sandbag, so that's good for her.
She still shook those hips.
She did.
Arnold Schwarzenegger turned down the role of Sir Michael Barrington. Can you imagine?
As he should. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Can you imagine how great that would have been to watch?
It would have been. Mae West was also famous for her love of muscle men. That's also something that comes up in the film.
Speaking of, Mae West lip-synced to her 1972 recording of Happy Birthday 21, which was issued on her album Great Balls of Fire. It's the only song on the soundtrack that's been officially released. Now, it's not quite the version in the film, is it?
No.
It's Happy Birthday Sweet 16, where she sings about a fan who's been writing to her since he was 12. And because he turned 16, she get it on with him. Not sure that was the law, though.
Oh, is that the original song?
Happy Birthday Sweet 16 is the original song.
I thought she sung... So she changed it to Happy Birthday 21?
She changed, yeah, for the film.
Just for the film, not her album?
On the album itself, the only version available on Spotify, now that's what I call Horror Cult Trash of a playlist, it's her Happy Birthday Sweet 16, which I have now just learned, and by the way, a lot of the songs in this film are covers.
Yeah.
Happy Birthday Sweet 16 is a cover by Neil Sedaka. Now, I was about to give Mae West a bit of jip for the creepy lyrics. However...
Oh, it's still creepy.
It's creepy as fuck. This is actually written by someone else before her.
But does that say about when you were 12?
When you were only 6, I was your big brother. Now, this is the original version, not Mae West's version. When you were only 6, I was your big brother. Then when you were 10, we didn't like each other. When you were 13, you were a funny Valentine. But since you've grown up, your future is sewn up, and from now on, you're going to be mine. That's fucking terrible.
Oh, I don't like that.
You've grown up before my very eyes.
Good gracious.
You turned into the prettiest girl I've ever seen.
I was your big brother.
Oh, happy birthday, sweet 16.
Oh. Jeez Louise.
Mae West changed it around a little bit.
She did.
She's
like, you know, my biggest... Wasn't it biggest... Oh, well,
the Mae West lyrics, yeah, they're ever so slightly different. And not available anywhere. But off the top of my head, it is, when you were 12, you wrote me a letter. When you were 16, I liked you better. When you're 20, there's only 1 year to go.
Oh, God, yeah.
And now when you're 21, you can do more than drink beer and vote.
You have to be 21 to vote.
I can't believe I just remember those lyrics off the top of my head.
You've been singing them to me all day.
I mean, it's fucking weird, but oh my god, is it camp. You know, not excusing how predatory the song is by both Mae West and the original artist.
But the problem is, when Mae West sings it, as Mae West sings anything, it's about men chasing her.
Yeah.
I think that's why it sticks out a little bit, because it's like, you sound like you're chasing him.
There is literally a song in this film. Now, take in mind, she wrote this fucking film, and all of her films, include a dozen compliments paid to her
Oh,
by other characters
huge.
that she has wrote herself.
Yeah, yeah.
Queen behaviour. There is a song in this film where the lyrics, again, another cover, where the lyrics are like, "Oh, you'll look young forever," or something along those lines. But then, looking at the original lyrics, it was like, "You won't look young forever."
Well, let's be clear here. Spoiler alert. She saves the world in this film.
Let's get to that. First of all, the film was a critical and commercial failure. When Crown International re-released it on the New York midnight movie circuit in 1979, it was embraced by gay audiences,
of course,
who dressed up as the characters and shouted lines at the screen. And it ran regularly in New York and California through the early 80s. Amazing. I would love to go to a screening of this.
I would actually love that.
I'll dress as Alice Cooper in the bow tie.
I'll be Dom DeLuise.
Not one of Mae West's iconic dresses, no.
No,
one of her many.
I would probably walk worse than her.
When the play Sextette debuted in Chicago in 1961, it was riddled with disasters. Mae West came down with laryngitis and had to cancel the first 3 performances. Sound problems rendered portions of the premiere inaudible. Don't worry, the film's the same. And the supporting player kept flubbing his lines. During the second performance, Alan Marshall... Yeah, that's on purpose. Alan Marshall, playing Sir Michael Barrington, suffered a heart attack. He died a few days later, which led to the cancellation of the next performance. With a script in hand, producer Henry Goetow awkwardly took over the role for several performances.
Jesus.
Tom Conway flew in from New York to provide a new performance of the role, but he read the script, then promptly returned home. Francis Bethencourt ultimately took the part and remained with the production as it toured the country. West revised the script numerous times, and while the show ultimately garnered acclaim, it never opened on Broadway.
Right. I don't understand how it garnered acclaim.
From who? Mae West.
From who?
Reviewing her own play.
Unless the play is very different to the film.
Alice Cooper claimed on numerous occasions that Mae West sexually propositioned each of the movie's male co-stars, but his fans know that he's prone to lies and exaggeration. The producers hired several rock stars to try and attract a younger audience, and West was initially quite apprehensive, but she and Cooper had a mutual friend in Groucho Marx who took her to one of his concerts. West gradually warmed to Cooper, and filming went off without a hitch. Apart from her, obviously, trying to get on with everyone, apparently.
Yeah. I'm not sure how true that would have been by that time. I
hope it... I mean, you know, again, I'd hope it's true. Again, not in a predatory way, but in the Mae West way. Like, I mean, can you imagine it going around to everyone?
I mean, she's a little old lady, isn't she, by this point? Let's be fair. What do you think of the producers getting rock stars in to try and gather a younger audience?
Absolutely awful idea. Mae West has done nothing but chase down old rich white men her entire fucking career, and then all of a sudden, you know, there's rock stars in this evidently younger than her that she's apparently married before. I was like, come on, we're not stupid.
This the choice to have rock stars in the film but not have them perform rock songs...
That is fucking weird.
...is the weirdest part.
Honestly, the Alice Cooper musical number, the first time I watched this, I didn't know what I was watching. Honestly, we've uploaded it to our YouTube channel. Strangest thing you'll ever see. It's so fucking weird.
It's...
like, no makeup. No Alice Cooper makeup. Nothing. He is in a fucking tuxedo.
He just looks like a guy.
With backing dancers.
Yeah.
Alice Cooper, when did he get big?
It would have been around that time.
Would it have been around that time?
It would have been School's Out.
Well, School's Out. Oh, of course, it was in last week's film.
Yeah, School's Out, yeah.
Oh, there we go. I always associate Alice Cooper with the 80s, I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, because his best song was in the 80s.
Well, but... yeah. On March 2nd, 1977, Daily Variety announced that Hugh Hefner had joined the cast, and he attended the second premiere screening precisely 1 year later, but his scenes were left on the cutting room floor.
Good.
Thank God.
Yeah, leave him there.
Do you think he's part of the husbands that never get mentioned? Husbands 1 to 3?
Yeah, it's likely.
Box office noted in January 1976 that Laurence Olivier, David Niven.
David Niven.
Yeah. David Niven, what do we know him from? I've never heard that name prior to writing this trivia.
David Niven, a very famous actor, won Best Actor Oscar for Separate Tables. You would know him from Death on the Nile.
Oh, okay.
From the 70s. Okay. He was the British guy that always hung around with Poirot.
Oh, okay.
David Niven. But yeah, well respected.
Yeah, British perfect for this film. Just like Elton John. And Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston.
Oh, yeah.
We don't like Charlton Heston.
Yeah. Mm. Yes.
Actually...
The apes should have killed him in the 60s.
Maybe. Let's not get into who's cancelled and who's not. Laurence Olivier would have been a weird choice.
Yeah.
David Niven would have worked. Elton John
would have worked in Alice Cooper's part.
In Alice Cooper's part, yes.
They're all signed on to co-star, and they all dropped out by the time filming commenced.
This is the power of Mae West, though.
Yeah.
Like, this film, it's shit.
It is.
The script is shit. Yeah. The screenplay is shit.
Yeah, no, make no mistake. We've said a lot of nice things so far. We are about to trash this film.
This is so bad it's abysmal. Good. This is so bad it's good. Let's be clear.
It's a half-star film.
So bad. It's good.
Yeah.
Just having Mae West's name though has brought in all this attention and these people. You know, someone like Tony Curtis.
Yeah.
You know, who I would say gives the best performance of the film, which isn't saying much, but he put some effort into it. You know, just her name and her iconic status drew these people in.
Yeah.
You know, she's on the front, she's on the album cover for Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. You know, she is a cultural icon.
Yeah.
And it's... I don't know what word I want to use. It's either a shame or a triumph that this is her last film.
Both. I mean, Trug is Joan Crawford's last film.
Yes.
I've noticed a theme here. Holy shit. Next week we're covering Betty Davis's final film.
Wicked Stepmother, yes.
That doesn't look like it's going to be much better. It must just be a thing.
Well, if... this a little bit of a spoiler alert, but I'm compiling a list of classic Hollywood actresses' final films.
Okay.
To see a pattern.
Yeah.
And I've seen a pattern emerging.
And will we have this on our social media?
We will sometime in the future.
Cool.
Yes.
Warner Brothers optioned the rights to the 1961 play, and then it got stuck in development hell for over a decade. After an appearance in Mara Breckenridge, renewed interest in her career, West fought to get the movie. West fought to get the movie made and eventually resecured the rights. The film was produced independently, but as a courtesy to the star, Warner Brothers bankrolled the world premiere screening in 1977. I mean, let's face it, Mara Breckenridge. There's a whole other episode waiting for that film.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not going to go too much into it, but I will say this. Mae West is the best thing about it. Her scenes, it's like a completely different fucking film. Her scenes are amazing. Like, she parodies sleazy casting couch guys from Hollywood. But she plays herself for the parody. It is amazing. YouTube the scenes of her in.
Yeah.
They are great. And the rest of the film isn't actually as bad as people have you believe, but she was my favourite thing about it, for sure.
Yeah, she's my second favourite. My favourite thing is the costumes.
Oh, yeah, the costumes.
But Mae West is a parody, though.
Yeah.
You know, her comedy and her, wit and the double entendres, all of that is a parody.
Yeah.
She's a parody of, what a perfectly figured woman should be, or a sex symbol.
Yeah.
You know, she was that,
Mm-hmm.
but she was also a parody of it. You know, it's she's in on the joke.
Yeah.
Which always brings, you know, a heart to it, and a sincerity to it, and that not a lot of people can get away with. In Myra Breckenridge, that's evident, because she does, again, seems to be in her own film, but it works better.
Yeah, I will go on record and say that the makers of Myra Breckenridge deciding to put Mae West in that film, playing herself, but as a parody of sleazy casting couch guys, is a work of genius. It is genius.
Yeah.
It seriously, it works so well, and it's not something you'd expect people to think of. Like, it's just, it really stands out.
It's difficult,
one of the funniest things I've seen. It's
I
so funny.
haven't read the novel. I'm dying to read the novel. I did the thing that I hate that I do, is when I watch the film before I read the book. I don't know how the character of Letitia...
Yeah.
Funny story though, in the book, it's spelled Letitia.
Mm-hmm.
But Mae West had it changed to Leticia because of the tit in the middle of it.
Wow. Ringo Starr remarked that he felt left out during the first day of shooting, but by the end of his second day, he was sad to be done.
Oh.
I was happy to see him go. It's by far the worst thing about this film.
Oh, he was a non-entity. It can't be the worst thing about something when you're barely even doing anything.
When 84-year-old Mae West learned 52-year-old Tony Curtis, dad of Jamie, had been cast, she was furious, feeling he was far too old to play one of her husbands. Again, Mae West, who has chased old, rich, white men throughout her career.
What was the film she turned down? Oh.
She's in the room.
Oh, she turned down a role that went to Barbara Stanwyck in a Elvis Presley film. Because she wasn't going to play the love interest. So she turned it down. Roustabout or something. It's got a really stupid name, you know. One of the throwaway Elvis films, apart from because it's starring Barbara Stanwyck. But she was going to play the Barbara Stanwyck role. But she found out that it wasn't a love interest, so she turned it down. And she must have been about 30 years older than Elvis. Maybe even older than that.
She first greeted Tony Curtis by asking if he was going to wear a wig to cover his bald spot. Once filming was underway...
She'd know her fucking wigs, wouldn't she?
Once filming was underway, she admired his performance, and he admired her for enduring various physical challenges to shoot the film. I love that all these stories. They have something in common. They start off with Mae West like, yeah, fuck this, I'm not filming with this guy. And then by the end of it, like, oh, we all got on really well.
Yeah. But by all accounts, she didn't always get on best with her co-stars. No. Raquel Welch and Myra Breckenridge, W.C. Fields. I think she maybe didn't want... No, I'm going to say it. She's dead, so she can't libel me. She probably only got on with the actors she wanted to shag.
Yeah.
So she probably didn't want to shag Tony Curtis, which is an insult because he's a very handsome man at any age. But she probably didn't want to shag him because he was too old. She was like, then what do I need? What do I need him for? So I don't need to get on with him.
The best chemistry I've seen Mae West have with anybody is Cary Grant. Cary Grant. She discovered him because he was very attractive.
Yeah.
So there we go. Okay. And finally, to promote the film in the summer of 1977, there were giant pink billboards in Los Angeles declaring, Mae West is coming.
There we go.
Funny, getting into the film, on the day of her wedding to her sixth husband, a glamorous silver screen sex symbol is asked to intervene in a political dispute between nations, which then leads to chaos. So we start with people chanting Wheel of Marlowe.
Yeah, we get some wedding bells, and the crowd are chanting Wheel of Marlowe. Regis Philbin is covering the marriage in England. Regis Philbin, famous for Regis and Kathy Lee. I don't know how to describe him in British terms. Like Philip Schofield and Holly Willoughby. So he's like the Philip Schofield.
He sounds like Mae West.
He does a bit, yeah. He's there covering the marriage in England of Marlowe Manners. The greatest sex symbol the screen has ever known. Very humble, Mae West. We then get the hideous theme song.
Yeah, she's married for the sixth time to her new husband, Sir Michael Barrington, played by Timothy Dalton.
Yeah.
They depart for a honeymoon suite at a posh and executive hotel that has been reserved for them by her manager Dan Turner, played by Dom DeLuise. We get to see them.
Have you anything to say about that?
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to it. I have a lot to say about it. We get to see them drive to the hotel, whilst lots of flag shaggers try getting their attention. Chris, define flag shaggers for our American listeners.
So a flag shagger is someone who prominently displays the British flag on their social media accounts or outside their windows, particularly during times of seeming patriotic moments like jubilees or
like
Brexit votes and such,
or like Timothy Dalton marrying Mae West.
Yeah, apparently. And the flag shagger, it suggests that they love Queen and country so much and hate foreigners and foreign muck, as some of them call foreign cuisine.
Yes.
They hate that so much that they would like to put their penises through the flag and give it a good shag.
Yeah, we are happy to confirm we are not flag shaggers.
We're not flag shaggers. It's weird though, for American listeners, I think the American flag is displayed a lot more.
Yeah.
It's less weird than it is here.
Uh-huh.
What is strange though is that the wedding car's travelling through London and all the spectators, flag shaggers, are waving American flags. Did you not notice that?
I only saw the British ones.
There was like 3 or 4 British ones, but the majority of them, young British children, mainly, flying American flags for Marlowe Manners.
They definitely didn't know who was in that car. They absolutely told them it was the Queen.
No idea whatsoever.
So whilst all this is going on, we get the opening credits and we also get Marlowe's theme. By Van McCroy.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, did Rock the Boat.
Yeah.
Is it Rock the Boat? Van McCroy.
I assume. I'm
going to have to Google this or I've embarrassed myself. I love me disco music as well.
So this is a disco theme.
It is.
And some of the lyrics are Marlowe.
Oh, I must apologise for the interruption. Van McCoy wrote The Hustle.
Okay.
Do the hustle.
So there's absolutely no excuse for this disaster of a
song.
No. Some of the lyrics are Marlowe, the female answer to Apollo.
Which makes no kind of sense.
No.
Okay.
Like the whole song is just fucking... It is just Van McCoy talking about how amazing Mae West is.
Yeah, essentially. Or just Marlowe. I mean...
A song that would have had her approval, obviously.
She always had the juice, but now she's got the peach. Oh, sorry, wrong Marley.
It's awful. It's such a bad song.
It is really bad. A lot of the verse is incoherent. The only memorable part is Marlowe, the female answer to Apollo, which doesn't quite rhyme and also really doesn't make any sense. And, Apollo's the god of something, isn't he?
Yeah.
In Greek mythology, the god of blonde bombshells, maybe.
Maybe.
The god of double entendres, maybe. Then that would work.
Another news reporter tells us the same thing again when they arrive at the hotel, as well as informing us that the hotel is also the location in a bizarre series of events of an international conference where leaders have come together to resolve tensions and problems that threaten the survival of the world. Yes, that's right. This Mae West musical about her getting married revolves around world leaders having an argument.
Yeah. It's not specified what the vote is about, or I missed it.
No, it's not. It's not.
Whatever the vote is about, it's never specified. But it's integral to the future of humanity. And I just put, oh, fucking hell. We're introduced to Marlowe's assistant for many years, Dan Turner, played by Dom DeLuise, who I'm a little confused. I think it's Dom DeLuise's shtick.
Mm-hmm.
That he plays characters who could potentially be read as queer.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, camp.
Yeah.
Which I thought this character was. But then there's also moments where he seems to be in love with...
That's a running theme throughout, yeah.
But I feel like, and I kind of wish they would have just done it, because it would have been hilarious. Him being gay, but straight just for Marlowe.
Yeah.
Like, not turning a gay man straight, but literally he loves Marlowe. Is obsessed with her and writes poems and shit.
It would have been more coherent than whatever.
He sings a song about loving her, though, doesn't he?
He does. He's trying to get all the plants in place for Marlowe whilst being interviewed by a sports reporter. And he informs one guy to remove a certain plant because it sucks up oxygen, and Marlowe's going to need all the oxygen she can get tonight.
Breathe through that nose. Dan is upset that this marriage has interrupted the filming of Marlowe's new film. Dan also tells the reporter that Marlowe likes short marriages and long honeymoons.
Yes.
Marlowe and Sir Michael arrive, and the adoring crowd just cannot contain themselves.
Yeah, Mr. Chambers, played by Walter Pidgeon, is trying to call the world leaders meeting to order, but they're just too interested in trying to catch a glimpse of Marlowe. As they enter the lobby, Marlowe, now Lady Barrington, and her husband, who is a knight, are swarmed by admirers and reporters, and Marlowe is asked, do your fans prefer you when you're married or single? To which she says, oh, they like me any way they can get me. And therefore one says, you get a lot of proposals from your male fans? And she says, yeah, and what they propose is nobody's business. Oh.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The forced laughter from the extras is cringe-inducing.
It is like that moment on Real Housewives, the series we started watching when they were talking to that guy that tried to sue. That woman was talking to that guy trying to sue.
Yeah.
He did that false laugh.
Yes. It was OC, and it was Heather Dubrow and Terry Dubrow and that woman who I can't remember her name. She was friends with them, but she'd sued them years and years ago.
At least she didn't go through with it.
yeah. But she is like having a meltdown. She's in tears. She's having a terrible time. Her big secrets come out. She's so regretful. And they're just laughing in her face.
But that's exactly what they all sound like in this hotel lobby. They're all like, Like, it is so put on. It's ridiculous.
Which is really cringy. Not as cringy, though, as the Hooray for Hollywood number that follows.
Yeah, we're on a segue where someone asks, does you getting married mean you're giving up on Hollywood? Which is a dumb question. She's been married 6 fucking times already and she's still a big Hollywood star.
Yeah.
And so she says, me? Give up on Hollywood? Oh, you're kidding. And yeah, then we launch into Hooray for Hollywood.
Some random guy goes, Hooray for Hollywood. And then Hollywood, hooray for Hollywood. Which I'm assuming is like an old tune that they've just put Hooray for Hollywood over.
I'm sure every song on the soundtrack's a cover.
Isn't there a Simpsons song where... Isn't Mark Hamill doing some sort of theatre show based on Star Wars? It's like Star Wars.
Maybe,
like
there
that.
you go.
Oh shit. Find it. And let me know, please, people.
Yeah, it's campus tits.
Why am I saying people like case hello people. It's case cooking here.
YouTuber, we there's not enough time in the day to
There's
explain
not
that
enough.
one.
We can have an whole episode on case cooking.
Yeah, it's campus tits, and almost every member of staff is a professional flamboyant dancer and singer.
It's awful. It really is. Really, really awful.
The best thing about it is all the moustaches knocking about. It's definitely the 70s. During the song, someone says to Marlo, "Oh, how do you like Big Ben, Marlo?" To which she says, "Oh, I don't know. I've never met the gentleman."
My favourite follows is how do you like it in London, Marlo? Oh, I like it anywhere. Oh.
Like,
can I
this is her entire dialogue throughout the film.
Can I just say, we've been watching a lot of Mae West films recently. She didn't do that many overall.
No, she did 12.
Oh yeah, she did 12. Mainly in the 30s and 40s. Alaska, when she won Snatch Game, All Stars Season 2, RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars Season 2, when she won Snatch Game as Mae West, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Watching the films, it was genius.
Yeah.
It was really, really clever.
Mm-hmm.
And having now seen... We were aware of Mae West. We were aware of her most famous lines and such. But that Snatch Game performance was amazing.
Yeah.
And you sort of... You watch the films and you're like, wow, Alaska really got it right.
Yeah. In the earlier films... sometimes she has a little bit of dialogue in between to move the story along. This entire film, every line of dialogue is an innuendo.
It is, yeah.
Like, constant. It is overkill. And I am not complaining because I was thoroughly entertained. But seriously, that's all she does for the entire film. And when she sings, even when she's singing, she's fucking talking. And most of the songs are just leaning to something dirty. It's, it's amazing.
I think... Mainly because she couldn't learn the lines.
No.
So it's just a quippy one-liner was easier to feed her through the walkie-talkie or whatever the fuck it was.
They head into the suite as we finally finish that awful fucking musical number. And Michael says, "I feel like the first man who landed on the moon," to which she says, which might be my favourite line of dialogue in the film, "Oh, in a few minutes you're going to be the first man who landed on Venus." Oh.
Yeah, let's be clear. The main plot of the film is Timothy Dalton and Mae West want to shag. And everything else going on around them prevents them from getting it on their wedding night.
Yeah, there's constant interruptions, starting with Dan asking to borrow Marlo for interviews.
Yes. Dan is the biggest culprit of getting in the way of Mae West getting railed. The one funny thing, though, is Sir Michael, when he says, "Oh, I would have carried you over the threshold." And she's like, "Oh, no, don't bother. I'd rather you shag me instead." Shouldn't say that, I'm paraphrasing. But I was like, oh. Mae West... has always been voluptuous.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that she's a big woman, but Timothy Dalton, I don't think would have been able to have carried an 84-year-old woman over the threshold without the fear of dropping her and killing Mae West.
I'd have loved to have seen him carrying her, but you know.
I don't think the insurers would have allowed that.
The sandbags wouldn't have.
Yeah. Oh God, fucking hell! Could you imagine?
So Dan wants to borrow Marlo for interviews. A shady guy with sunglasses in a lift tells Dan that Marlo has to do something for Uncle Sam, and she can't refuse.
Yeah, I got really confused by this. I don't know what the fuck she needed to do. Dan and Sir Michael bicker over Marlo's work responsibilities. Marlo is recording notes on a cassette recorder.
In her first costume change.
She's recording it for her memoirs as she stares at Lord knows what. She's staring somewhere in the distance. No idea. She's talking to this cassette recorder as she lounges sexily on the bed, which makes a lovely visual. But I don't think it was particularly comfortable.
No.
Like, if you're recording your memoirs, which are going to take a while, it's not the most comfortable way to lounge in a full evening gown.
It doesn't take too long.
No.
Yes. She talks about her new husband. She's like, oh, it's not the men in my life that counts, it's the life in my man.
Yeah, she listens back to her recording straight away, doesn't she?
She finishes recording and then she starts listening back straight away. Obviously what we do here at the Horror Culture Show podcast.
Yeah.
She says she'll talk about whether he's worth it or not after they've had sex. But she starts listening back and starts listening to all the exposition about her past husbands, including one that they called Sexy Alexei, a Russian diplomat played by Tony Curtis, who we see is with the world leaders. And then there was husband number 4, director Laszlo Karolny, played by Ringo Starr. Oh.
Yeah, also known as Son of Lubritz, which he was a famous director in the 30s. But she says, at least it sounds like what they called him. I didn't do it justice. It's a funny joke. I didn't do it justice. I'm sorry. Yeah, Rona Barrett, who apparently is a real...
she is a real Gail Weathers.
A real Gail Weathers.
A real gay Gail Weathers.
She's covering the wedding. Everyone's covering the wedding. She's covering the wedding on TV, and despite me struggling to understand what she's saying, I get the idea that she's reading Marlo and Sir Michael to Phil.
She is, yes.
Not about the age difference, though. One thing that is not brought up at all in this film is the age difference, and
yes.
It must have been 50 years at least.
Yeah, on set there was definitely a clause that we don't mention the age.
The age. It's the one thing that is not mentioned. So we get the impression that Mae West is not playing an 84-year-old woman.
Yeah,
that she's playing a much younger woman.
Someone on another review reckons that she's supposed to be playing someone in her 20s. I'm not sure how true that is. I hope it's true.
Yeah.
That's hilarious if it's true.
But she's not reading them for the age difference.
No.
She's reading them for Marlo's previous marriages and potential easy virtue.
Yeah, Michael says, oh, if she was a chap, I'd punch her in the nose.
Yeah.
So Dan encourages him to go and sort her out.
Yeah.
So Marlo's like, oh, where's Michael? And Dan's like, oh, he's downstairs trying to save your reputation. And she says, oh, well, he should be up here trying to ruin it.
Yeah. That is fucking funny. That is funny. And that's why, despite this being a big bag of shit, this is still incredibly watchable. Because that is funny. Yeah, this is the first Mae West film we watched way back when. And I don't know about you, did you watch any of it? Myra Breckenridge. Myra Breckenridge, I'd say. It's the first film I ever saw for Mae West. It certainly set that bar really high. Yeah, and some of her jokes are recycled from older films. But that's funny. I mean, I appreciate that sense of humour.
Oh, yeah.
You know, amazing. Not everybody does. And I don't think in 1977 everyone got that. I mean, it's been 40 years since, you know, her heyday. You know, she makes all these innuendos and it's very saucy, which was very progressive for the 1930s. But then, you know, by 1977, Deep Throat had happened.
Yeah.
You know, the art house pornography, or, you know, where people could go to the cinema and watch very adult orientated films with great ease, that had all happened. So this is very, very tame.
Yeah, it's a PG.
It's a PG.
This is a PG.
You know, the Hays Code wouldn't... And it's some of the jokes are a bit saucier than they were in the 30s. Mm-hmm. A lot of them essentially refer to ejaculation. But by 1977, this is mild. You know, your granny wouldn't even blush at these jokes. But I love those kind of jokes. I love that classic Hollywood kind of humour. But I can see why the film failed the way it did.
Yeah. Dan asks Marlowe to go and sort out the world leader stuff. They have a conversation about her history with politics, complete with a newspapers montage.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Yeah, well, she's exactly the same age.
Yeah. All of them.
She's had 6 husbands throughout the years. But looks exactly the same age in every one of the photos.
Sexy Alexi has said that he'd be willing to sort out things with the United States as long as he has one last romantic night with Marlowe. And Marlowe, just married, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Like, okay. Didn't take much convincing. Dan demands Marlowe to give him her memoirs so he can destroy him, because of the information it includes about him, her, and all the men she slept with. She agrees. She's like, yeah, and actually... Yeah, no, she's like, shred it. She gives him one tape. Now, there's clearly a lot of memoirs. Yeah. If they're talking about all that stuff, she gives him one tape. And that's remember it later on. And he gets rid of it. Rona interviews Michael.
So Michael goes to defend his wife's honour with nosy bitch Rona Barrett.
He does.
But the dumb fuck manages to get his wires crossed and comes out as gay.
Yes, we have a coming out scene. By accident.
Well, I really don't understand how the conversation gets to this. He's talking about his time at Eton, and when he put his cock in a dead pig's mouth. Oh no, wait, no, that was David Cameron.
Basing his entire life around Timothy Dalton.
He's giving Tory energy.
He is
Tory energy. Very Tory energy. But yeah, he's something like scrum and sports and playing with the rugby team.
Yeah.
So she says, "Are you gay?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm very gay. I'm very gay." As in, like, the Flintstones.
Yes, because this is written by someone who was prominent in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, where the whole gay... I suppose it's a weird one, because if an older character had said, yes, of course I'm gay, you know, I'm very happy, it would make more sense than a younger guy saying it, because he would know that there's 2 ways to interpret him saying he's gay. So it comes across as just a bit stupid.
This is a recurring theme in Mae West's films. All the men are fucking morons. Yeah. They're all so stupid. And the only thing they can do successfully is fall in love with her.
Yes.
And some of them can't even do that.
And get married really quick.
Yeah.
There was one thing about classic Hollywood films, and it's really prominent in Mae West. People get married at a drop of a hat.
Yeah.
And I have a theory why. It's because the films had to not depict sex before marriage.
Yeah.
But Mae West's films were all about sex. The end goal was Mae West, for these men.
There's...
So they had to get married.
Yeah.
Or the whole point of the film didn't work.
I mean, there's no excuse for the rest of classic Hollywood, where, someone could just meet
Alfred
someone
Hitchcock films, there's a lot of people getting married really quick.
Meet someone like, oh, hi, oh, marry me, yeah, sure. That's literally what it's like.
I suppose life expectancies were a little shorter
then. He goes back to the suite and sings "Love Will Keep Us Together" to Marlowe.
Whilst... Awful.
Okay, this is the cover. This is
tone deaf.
This is another cover. The original lyrics were "Young and beautiful, your looks will fade one day." Timothy Dalton sings "Young and beautiful, your looks will stay forever."
But it's not as fun as the original.
No. But the whole time he's singing it to her, and she literally just stands there shaking her hips, looking at the ceiling and saying, "Oh, stop, whatever."
She just makes random noises as well. It's like,
stop.
Keep us together. Whatever. It's the Captain and Tennille song, isn't it? Love will keep us together. Yeah.
It's
awful. Really fucking awful.
Yeah.
Say it.
A
bizarre,
massively bizarre series of events. The Who's drummer, Keith Moon, my favourite drummer of all time, by the way, if anyone wants to know. One of the greatest drummers of all time. Incredible. As a person, we get to see some of his personality here, because he is not acting. He launches himself through this room, coked off his face. Absolutely. This is what cocaine looks like. This is all he was paid with. I don't think he knew he was in a film. They just placed him there. He's playing a dress designer, and a very, very camp dress designer, who gets Marlowe to do a fashion show for him. Yes,
so obviously her new film is going into pre-production, despite her, about to go on her honeymoon. So Marlowe's dress designer, they seem to be best friends, yet he wasn't invited to the wedding, seemingly.
Yeah.
Played by Keith Moon. This is your brain on drugs. He says, Marlowe says, "Oh, how long will this take?" He says, "Well, how long does it take you to undress?" "Oh, you're looking at the world's champion."
She goes through some amazing outfits. It's like the fashion montage in the first Sex and the City film.
Oh my god, it's absolutely. And then with oh my god,
that's exactly what
absolutely is. Because after every change, there's like a quip or a little
she repeats one of her famous lines, like, "Oh, when I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad, I'm better." Oh.
Yeah, love that line. My favourite though, I don't know if it's your favourite as well. "I'm the girl that works at Paramount all day and fucks all night." Dirty bitch.
Keith Moon.
She serves some looks though. One thing that is consistent for all of Mae West's films, all the ones we've watched, the good, the bad, and the ugly, she serves looks like no one else.
Keith Moon demands a gold dress from her, and he does this play. "Yeah, I'll have a gold dress. Oh, gold dress. Oh, give me a gold dress. Oh, yeah, I'll have a fucking gold dress. Give me a gold dress. Oh, yeah, give me a gold dress. Give me. Oh, yeah." And like he is just pulling stupid faces. He looks like he's about to fucking explode or murder someone. I honestly assume they had to drag him off the set after this scene. He is uncontrollable. It's fucking ridiculous.
Do you know how this film would have really worked?
If she joined the Who.
If they'd done it like Tommy.
Yeah.
Because Tommy is kind of similar, where it's here, there, and everywhere, and it doesn't quite make sense. If they'd made this into a rock... Yeah, of course. But if they'd made this into a rock opera...
Yeah.
And Mae West was played by Anne Margaret, that would have really worked.
I really hope they do something like that if they do a Mae West biopic. Cast Natasha Lyonne in the lead role and just make it a fucking musical, just fucking weird as fuck. Like Elvis, but turned up to 11. Like,
Yeah.
It needs to be weird, flamboyant.
I feel like there's so many biopics that they need to do something new.
Yeah.
And I think Mae West could be a good one to just really go out there and just have fun with it. Dan goes to the kitchen.
Yeah, in a sour series of events.
To get rid of the tape. And the British chef is horrified at the chefs of the world leaders bringing their own cuisine and wanting to honour their own traditions.
Yeah, he's
a right sourpuss.
He's racist as fuck. He chases Dan out of the kitchen with a knife when he says he just wants a good old American hamburger. But then he begins attacking some of the world leaders who are now in the kitchen, yelling out racial slurs.
No, their own chefs.
Oh, they're the
own
chefs.
So they've brought their own chefs.
Yeah, so he starts yelling out racial slurs at them, whilst an Asian man eats a ramen while stereotypical Chinese music plays on the soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not really much to say. No. It's, the lowest form of humour.
Mm-hmm.
It's not funny. I mean, that's a flag shagger.
Yeah.
That's a flag.
There we go.
That's a flag shagger.
Prime example.
The chef.
Keith Moon leaves Marlowe's suite whilst the politicians are all talking shit at the conference. Dan interrupts Michael. Oh, yeah, I take it back. Ringo Starr's not the worst thing about this film. All the world leader shit is the worst thing about this film.
Makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
The scenes where they're just talking and it just sounds like words. It's just ridiculous.
It's just a load of shit. Dan puts the tape in the oven to dispose of it.
Yeah.
That's going to come up later. Sir Michael questions Marlowe on her previous marriages. And she says, marriages are like a good book. All the best bits are between the... Oh, I admit I fucked that up. I'm sorry. Oh, marriages are like a good book. All the best bits are between the covers. Oh. She doesn't necessarily say it like this.
She does.
I feel like I have to put...
I've never heard so many O's in one film. Yeah, Dan interrupts them again to tell Michael that Rona has told the newspapers that he's gay. So he leaves to go set her straight, to which Marlowe says, "You're the one who needs to be straight, honey."
Oh. In another hilarious bit of 70s humour, Dan and Sir Michael never actually use the word gay, using only hand gestures.
They're acting like a middle-aged aunt at a barbecue.
It's a difficult on the podcast, but it's like, is he a bit...
Yeah, bend the hand a bit. Is he a bit...
A bit... Shake a little to the left and right.
Dan performs honey pie to a cardboard cutout of Marlowe.
Oh, is that your wrist, or you're not pleased to see me?
Dan performs Honey Pie, the worst musical number in the film, to a cardboard cutout of Marlowe, while she leaves to go and see Sexy Alexi.
Oh yeah, I did put, it's fucking atrocious.
She bumps into another ex. I don't know if this one was a husband, though.
No, it's because she worked on behalf of the FBI.
Yeah.
So this is the FBI agent that Dan has been talking to.
Oh, was that him?
Yes. So they meet...
Oh, his disguise is great, even I didn't recognise him.
So... he's the one that Dan has been talking to. They meet in the elevator, but the camera doesn't zoom in enough to establish that the camera is in the elevator. So the doors don't close.
No.
So it looks like this FBI agent just walks in, has a little conversation with Marlowe, and then walks out.
Well, they don't press any buttons.
They don't... no buttons are pressed. The doors don't close. There's no suggestion that the elevator has moved. And she's like, "Oh, see you, hun. Oh, bye." The FBI agent during this conversation, very protective of Marlowe, says, "Let me know if he gives you a hard time." To which Marlowe replies, as you've guessed it, "Oh, I'm planning on it."
Take it easy. She's like, "Oh, I always take it easy."
So Michael puts his foot in it again, trying to convince the reporters that he's a man's man, but also a woman's man. He suggests that whilst rowing at Oxford, Tory energy, He coxed the whole crew in 69. Yeah, you and me both. He's essentially, and it's a running joke, no gay man in history has ever played sports or has ever been interested in sports. So therefore, if he establishes himself as a sportsman, he definitely can't be gay.
Yeah.
There we are. That's not to say I'm in any way sports orientated.
Wow.
But don't tell me I'm not allowed to be.
Marlo arrives at Sexy Alexi's suite. He's ordered champagne and cake for them, but she notices that one of her memoir tapes is inside the cake and tells him not to eat it because he's a good-looking guy who could get flabby.
But it's the only tape.
Yeah.
You said one of.
Yeah, this is what I mean. So
yeah, it's the only
they're
tape.
so desperate to get hold of this tape and destroy it and whatever. What about all the other ones? There has to be other tapes.
Yeah.
There's no way all of her memoirs on this one tape.
It's yeah. Well, maybe she did not led an exciting life.
He doesn't enjoy being fat shamed, so he throws the cake out the window and the dog starts eating it.
So Michael sees Marlo and Alexei getting close on the balcony.
He does.
The tape ends up on a javelin for some reason. So there's this sports team in town, the Olympic athletics sports team. I'm not really sure who it is. They end up in town. They're absolutely giving me the YMCA scene from Can't Stop the Music.
They are, yeah.
One of our early podcast episodes, if you haven't heard it. But the tape ends up on a javelin. So this tape's been baked and been stabbed by a javelin. Marlo sees that this has happened and leaves Alexei after singing a song about after I'm gone.
Well, he's like, oh no, don't go, with his fucking terrible Russian accent. And my terrible
Russian better than yours.
And she's like, before she goes, oh fine. She's like, oh, after you've gone. Oh, after you're gone. And she's like, she starts singing to him, and then after that he's satisfied. He's like, oh, what a woman. I was like, that's all you wanted from her? To sing to you?
It's literally about her being the best gal he's ever had. Without really, it's like his quote. The song occurs because he says, "What do I do after you've gone?" The song doesn't really answer the question.
No, because after he's gone, like it switches it around. It's like, oh, after you've gone, he's not going anywhere.
And it doesn't really identify for the audience what exactly the purpose of their meeting was.
Because these songs are covers, they're not lyrics written for the film. And as much as she likes to change them around, they still don't make sense.
Yeah. I have to say props to Tony Curtis, because he's putting in a performance.
He's trying.
It's not his best performance, but he's giving it a good go.
Yeah.
And that's all I can say. Marlo goes to the gym and meets with all the muscly athletes in an effort to get her tape back. Now, I know this is Gary's favourite scene in the film.
It is.
So I'm going to allow you to tell the listeners exactly how this goes down.
She admires everyone's muscles, delivers a few quips here and there, and is eventually introduced to Ricky, the mascot. It's his 21st birthday. Where do we think that's going? Oh yeah, they take a picture with her, where she comments on their biceps. Someone's moving his pecs. And she's like, oh, you're trying to give me competition?
Yeah. My favourite is, oh, what do you do? And he's like, I'm a pole vaulter. Oh, aren't we all?
She's just there to get a cassette. The cassette's in plain sight.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the trampoline.
It's on the trampoline. She is within reaching distance. She could just grab it. It's a pink tape. It obviously belongs to her. It's 70s, genders based on colours. You could have just grabbed it. It's my cassette tape. No questions asked. Leave.
Yeah.
Later on, they act like they knew she was there for the cassette anyway. No one hands it to her.
Yeah.
Instead, she's like, oh, you're a big boy now. And he's like, oh, well, not as big as everyone else here. She's like, oh, well, that's not the size that matters. It's what you do with it. So then she starts singing Happy Birthday 21. I mean, yeah.
It's weird.
She is barely moving. The hips are shaking, but the rest of us barely moving. But she's like hovering around the gym. like a fucking ghost.
The guy's hair looked like someone has died on his head.
Yeah. Everyone, there's some backing dancing going on. Some people are having a little groove in the background. There's some backing vocals in there.
More than any other scene, she definitely looks like she can't see for shit.
Yeah, she has no idea what this 21-year-old looks like.
No.
Yeah, it goes on and on. I wish it went on longer. It is one of the campest things I've ever seen. They look at her like she's their nan. Everyone's looking at her like, oh, bless her. Yeah, oh, that's it. You carry on singing about sucking my dick.
Lovely song.
Now, unfortunately, the original version ends with, blow out your candles or I'll blow out for you. This version does not. But it does end with someone jumping on the trampoline and the memoir tape flying into a lion statue's mouth, to which she says, oh, everything goes up for Marlowe. And everyone at the gym's like, ah!
But literally, so the roof is open for some reason.
Yes.
And it goes flying up, like, to the top of the building into a lion statue's mouth.
A nod to her best film, where she shoves her head in a lion's mouth.
Yes.
I'm no angel.
Yeah, but she also, not being able to see for shit, clearly sees this tape go into this lion's mouth 600 feet in the air. You know, but there we go.
But she just lets it go. She doesn't say anything. She just lets it go.
Yeah.
Goes back to her room and Laszlo's in there, played by Ringo Starr.
But it's literally like, oh, okay, that happened. Bye, guys. No one questions what the fuck is going on.
Laszlo and his entire crew have set up in her room, in her suite. Don't know how they got in there. Michael does various exercises with the athlete team. Whilst they tell him about the cassette going into the lion's mouth.
Yeah, so Michael goes to the gym to be surrounded by half-naked muscle men and lift weights and do some boxing to prove his heterosexuality. Right. They're doing some sort of screen test in Marlowe's room.
Yeah.
The much younger actor playing her love interest says, oh, Marlowe, you know, we were in a film together. She says, oh, I remember you. He goes, yeah, I had a small role, but it grew by the end. Thanks to you, Marlowe.
Yes.
To much hilarity, Sir Michael walks in on the screen test after a real quick change. I feel like the editing isn't quite right with this one. No. Because he's wearing a completely different outfit.
Yeah, but scenes just end. Things just end in this film. Nothing comes together right. It doesn't make any sense.
He walks in on the screen test and hilariously confuses the romantic scene to be real. Hilarious, never seen before, really groundbreaking humour. Alexei agrees to whatever the vote was in the world leader meeting.
Yeah.
Humanity for now is saved. All thanks to that song. Sir Michael and Marlowe prepare to finally get it on, but Sir Michael is knackered and falls asleep.
He does. Pull the muscle in his back.
Pulls the muscle in his back and falls asleep.
I would say that's weird for a younger actor, but as someone who's 30 years of age has recently pulled a muscle in his back, it's not weird, it's relatable. He also punches the actor before this as well. The actor that was about to kiss Marlowe for the screen test, just to prove, you know, he's a superior male, he's the alpha male.
He's so straight.
He is.
Do you know what this film needs?
What's that?
Another ex-husband.
Oh, yeah.
And we get one.
One that's back from the dead.
One that's back from the dead. Marlowe's ex-husband, husband number 5, Vance.
Vance Norton, he's a gangster, played by George Hamilton. Another ex-husband, and he's demanding to talk to Marlowe.
He is wearing a Party City / Love You Babe.
Yeah, I thought you said the costume designs are the best thing about this film. This is so cheap.
I said Myra Breckenridge.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Thank you.
That's true.
It's definitely giving $20 at Party City mafia outfit.
Yeah.
Definitely. He's back from the dead. Marlo struggles to remember if she divorced Vance or not.
Well, when he walks in, she's like, "Oh, is that a gun in your pocket, or you're just glad to see me?"
Yeah, one of her famous lines. She can't figure it out if she divorced him before his death or not. Surely, if he was legally dead, then she didn't need to divorce him, but whatever. The answer should be on the tape, though.
Yes.
Because she remembered it whilst recording her memoirs not too long ago, but suddenly can't remember it now. Right. Yeah. So Michael awakens, and for some unknown reason...
Yeah, this was meant to be way earlier in the film.
Yeah, he climbs the building looking for the tape himself. For no apparent reason, because he's not aware of the tape's location or what's on the tape.
Well, he's a secret agent. Spoiler alert. So maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vance and Dan go to the rooftop themselves to find the tape, and Dan hilariously hangs over the edge with a pigeon.
Yes.
Dan gives up, though, and just agrees with Vance that he's still married to Marlo.
Mm-hmm.
Just says, whatever you say, Vance, is the truth. So Michael overhears this, grabs the tape from the lion's mouth, and falls into the gym and onto the trampoline. It's then revealed that he's working for the Secret Service, and he gives the tape to the
racist chef.
Bigoted chef.
Yeah.
The xenophobic chef. Who apparently is also part of the Secret Service.
He is.
Well, there we are. I don't think I need to explain how representative of British culture that is. The world leaders argue... Oh, fucking hell. The world leaders argue over food.
Yeah.
So they've been like, oh, now it's all been agreed. We can share in culinary delights from all over the world. They struggle to enjoy each other's food, and so argue over it. All except for the Jimmy Carter lookalike, who is happy eating his peanuts.
Yes.
Lovely, because the only memorable thing about Jimmy Carter was the peanuts farming, I think. And that sounds sarcastic, but as a British person, I think that maybe is all that he's remembered for here.
Michael is introduced to Vance shortly after Vance tells Marlo how much he wants to kill Michael, and Marlo doesn't even try stopping him.
She smiles, don't she?
Oh, well, go on then.
It's funny.
Oh, but I'll have to divorce him first. So Marlo explains to Michael how she thought that Vance was dead. The racist chef brings a cake to the world leaders, and they find Marlo's tape in it from when Michael snuck it in there earlier.
It's Alexi's birthday cake, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
She sings a rousing rendition of Happy Birthday 52 to Tony Curtis.
I wish.
Begrudgingly.
This is, it's broadcast on the news.
For some reason.
Everything is broadcast on the news in this film.
Everything.
Marlo spots it, so she goes to the conference and asks them to give her the tape, but they insist on listening to it.
For some reason, no one explains what's on the tape. It could just be her singing on there.
Just turn it on. Oh, tonight's the night. Happy birthday, 21. Vance holds everyone at gunpoint and demands the tape, so they give it to him. In a fucking bizarre series of events. I don't know what the director of this film was thinking. I don't know what Mae West was thinking when she wrote this. He's interrupted by budget Marlon Brando in the Godfather role.
Oh, do you know what was popular 5 years ago?
Vance gets on his knees and speaks Italian to him without any subtitles. But at one point, to great hilarity, he does say cappuccino. Budget Brando just refuses to look at him.
This is Brando, just to clarify, this is Brando as Vito Corleone in The Godfather.
Mm-hmm. Budget Brando...
See what they did?
Yeah. He demands that they play the tape.
Yes.
So they do.
Fortunately, the tape is rewound to exactly where it needs to be. And we hear Marlo spilling the tea on all the politicians.
Yeah.
She's revealing how they're all corrupt. How she shagged them for information. And they're all laughing along.
They're all laughing. This is being broadcast on the news. Like, they're being exposed.
Yeah. Like,
and they all find it hilarious.
And they're all laughing. Like, oh yeah, I committed war crimes.
And to celebrate this outing of their dodgy dealings.
Well, it's also revealed that it's also revealed that she divorced Vance.
She did, yes.
Before he faked his death. And he literally disappears.
He does.
Bye.
Yeah, Budget Brando's gone. No mention of him ever again. No. Just gone. She then performs Babyface.
No, wait, I'm sorry, I wrote it here. Marlo tells them that they need to get along or she's going to talk about what they don't want out.
Yeah, even though, like, she's already... it's already out.
Let's talk about the husband.
She performs Babyface for the world leaders, and they all sing backing vocals.
Oh, how awkward.
The song literally goes, oh, you've got the cutest baby face. Oh. That's literally how it goes.
Yeah.
And she's going up to these men, these really old men, who clearly are in their 60s, 70s. And she's like, oh, you got the cutest baby face. They certainly do not.
No.
No one in that room has a baby face. Not even you, Mae. And yet they start singing it back at her. And it's like, come on. None of you believe this, right?
She does have a baby face. She had it stolen off someone and sewed onto her skin.
And when the song ends, she does her most famous line. Like, oh, why don't you come up and see me sometime? The sooner the better. Oh. And they're all like, ah! Like, no, she's genuinely offering. What are you laughing at? Yeah. In a bizarre series of events, and just when you thought it couldn't get any more bizarre, she goes back to her room where Alice Cooper is waiting for her.
Yes.
With a note from Michael telling her he's leaving her because he thinks she's had one too many husbands.
Yeah, so he's gone on to their boat for their honeymoon without her. Alice Cooper then proceeds to sing a song on the piano about how she's better off without him anyway. He's
literally like, oh, well, I don't know what's in that note, but don't worry about it. Well, hang on a minute, what?
Yeah.
And then he's literally like, oh, cheer up, Mae West, with a disco backbeat. Like, that's literally, and then she...
But it's like, one man's trash is another man's treasure, you're better off without him.
On to the next one.
Fuck Alice Cooper's drag, though, because she goes to find Sir Michael anyway.
Oh my god, this scene is so awkward. Like, she's putting her hands all over him whilst he's performing.
Yeah.
You can see he is so uncomfortable. The hotel staff are doing a choreographed dance routine in the background.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just seeing Alice Cooper doing this disco number is fucking weird.
It's very weird.
He walks around the room.
Fortunately, he doesn't look like Alice Cooper.
He doesn't.
If you hadn't have told me, if we were just watching the film, we'd be like, oh, that guy kind of looks like Alice Cooper without his makeup on. Well, in Poison, he hasn't got his makeup on, has he?
Well, he goes, they leave the room and he's like, Lady Barrington, bon voyage. Yeah, 'cause she checks out whilst it's all going on. Lady Barrington, bon voyage. Like, oh, likewise, I'm sure. Dan shows up.
Yeah, so as she's getting into the elevator, Dan sees her and tells her, firstly, she has saved the world. And that is his exact words. You are the woman of the hour. You have saved the world. He then tells her that Sir Michael is part of the Secret Service.
Yeah.
Bigger than 007. Oh, I didn't have the chance to take his measurements. Oh. She then teleports into Sir Michael's bed on the boat, and they reconcile.
Okay, she teleports onto his boat, and then under the covers.
How did she get
in a new outfit? She changes her outfit on the way.
She's dressed for bed,
and she sits there. And she's like, "Day 37. oh, my new husband's on a boat and he's a secret agent. So, and literally, he's in the next room.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing between them. It's
There's
like, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Like...
No, blind date.
Blind date. Well, yeah, surprise.
What's it called in America?
Oh,
Is it the match game or something?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
Yeah, like literally, he's right there, and she's recording a memoir. But then he's like, "Oh, turn me on," and she's like, "I will. Oh, I will." And then he hears her. Like,
Yeah.
no, she's talking at the same volume as she's just been speaking at. You didn't know she was there. And then he walks into his bedroom. He doesn't say to her, like, "How the fuck did you get in my yacht?
How did you get past me?"
How did you just fall into my yacht?"
Unchanged.
But he says, "You know, you've done more for your country than Paul Revere." And she said, "I'm looking forward to saying the same thing he said. The British are coming. Oh." And that is the last line of dialogue in Mae West's final film.
Yeah. The British are coming. Oh. I think it exemplifies her career.
Yeah.
That innuendo is the final line that she speaks in the film.
We do get end credits with shots of London and, of course, Marlowe's theme.
Yes, we do.
And
that is Sextette.
It is.
Still not sure what a sextet is.
No.
I'm assuming it's her 6 husbands, the sextet.
Maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, weird. I'm trying to find a word to describe it.
A group of 6 people playing music or singing together.
Oh, I see. So her six husbands. Spelt differently though.
Spelt differently.
I don't know why the extra T and E are on the end, but you know, who am I to judge? I think it, like I said, it perfectly exemplifies Mae West's career on screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's very formulaic to the kind of films that she did.
Mm-hmm.
With a very weird spin. But it's very much men falling at the feet of Mae West.
Yeah.
That's what her career image was about. Yes, she's 84, but still looks stunning. You know, at 84, can wear a dress like no one else. It's weird. It's a weird...
Honestly, it's not good.
It's not good.
It's not even close.
It's not. It is badly written. The one-liners are the best part of the film.
Probably still not the worst musical we've discussed on the podcast.
No.
It still goes to C and Double or from Justin Kelly.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
It is more akin to Can't Stop the Music.
It is.
But it's better because it's actually watchable. It's entertaining.
I would absolutely recommend watching it. This is it's trashterpiece.
It is.
It's trashterpiece. It makes no kind of sense.
Uh-huh.
But it's certainly entertaining.
So entertaining.
Mae West is entertaining in everything that she does.
Yeah.
And it's batshit
It
crazy.
is. Yeah, if you are a fan of So Bad It's Good films, then you have to watch this.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, if you've already watched it, let us know on social media. We're Horror Cult Trash over on Facebook and Instagram. Horror Cult Trash on Twitter.
Fairly difficult to get a hold of.
It is,
isn't it?
It is. We got it off eBay.
And it wasn't the cheapest DVD I bought. Really bare bones.
Yeah.
DVD. Not the best quality. I think it was taken from a VHS.
Mm-hmm.
It was on Prime Video for some... You know how Amazon Prime have like the weirdest films on them every so often? But yeah, I would recommend watching it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you there.
I'm Dead at Gaz92 on Letterboxd, Gazmo205 on Instagram, and GazCruise92 on Twitter.
I am Chris Barker823 on Letterboxd and Instagram.
And give us a rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, a like and follow on everything else, and a rating on Spotify. Next week, we bring you the final episode in our current format. Episode 199. And keeping up with discussing Queens this month, we are discussing Bette Davis in Wicked Stepmother.
One of my favourite classic Hollywood actresses in her final film.
Yeah.
So
Barely,
excited
apparently.
to watch it. Yeah. I know. But really excited to watch it. I've never seen it before. We could get another trashterpiece, I feel.
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be discussing that next week. Yes.
Yeah, and then changing things up a bit for the big 200.
Changing things up a little bit. Yes. But yeah, it'll be a great episode.
Yes. So we will be back same time, same place next week.
Bye.